and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, with that being said, let's get started with the next story of the day. Look, folks, in life, you need to find someone that loves you, that cares about you. And I think the people of Arizona don't have that. But Senator Sinema, she cares about her constituents. That's right. No, not the regular voters, not regular working class people. No. She loves her constituents. No, gee, Kit, what are you talking about? You just said that she doesn't love the voting people of Arizona, the working class. Who then is Senator Kristen Sinema's constituents? Well, it's banks, Wall Street executives, private equity firms, and hedge funds. That's right. When you're in a relationship, have someone love you as much as Sinema loves lobby money. And boy, oh boy, does she love the lobby money. She's all for it. It's interesting to know that this is a person who started off as an activist, then as a member of the Green Party, then ran as a progressive in the Democratic Party, and then did this complete turnaround to where she is the darling of Big Pharma and any other lobby group. She got an internship where she got paid more than $1,000 at a winery. That's not even in her state. I mean, she is the face of absolute hypocrisy and corruption. Honestly, if people were to turn back time and maybe watch videos of Sinema speaking at activist rallies and protest events, and some time traveler went back in time and said, that person up there is a frickin' fraud. Because there's no way in hell, with Sinema's actions now, did she ever believe any of the stuff she was saying before she got into office. She is a careerist, and hey, she's for sale. If you work in Wall Street, if you're a hedge fund manager, if you're a lobby group, well, you quickly flock to Sinema because she will love you and take care of you. She is the hero of the top 1%. What am I talking about? Let's play this video.
That narrowed the 15% corporate minimum tax. I mean, we just heard from Senator Klobuchar a few moments ago. She seemed elated. They don't seem too perturbed by this, but once again, because of a 50-50 Senate, they had to deal with these last-minute changes, care of Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah, find someone who loves you the way Kyrsten Sinema loves the private equity and venture capital. She fought really hard for that carried interest tax loophole. It seems like a mistake in my mind to be a Democratic senator who is so tied to your corporate donors, especially when there seems like there could likely be a primary challenge from Ruben Gallego. But I mean, she has just doubled down on it. And in the end, I don't think it much matters because she voted for the bill and they were able to pass it. And they got this huge investment in climate, biggest federal investment in climate ever. So I think it's a big deal.
All right, let's pause it here. It's chump change to what we got in that bill. Because Sinema got what she wanted. She wanted to protect the people that pay her. She's going to defend private equity firms and hedge fund managers. So all this talk and concern of what Sinema's going to do, no. Sinema doesn't give a damn about the Democratic Party. She doesn't give a damn about progressive values. She doesn't give a damn about activists. She doesn't give a damn about the people of Arizona. She cares about herself and the money she's going to get. This is why we got to get money out of politics. This is why we can't trust these politicians. This is why when people like Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur and Sammy Boy Cedar are telling you, we got to vote blue no matter who, or we can reform the Democratic Party from within, they're lying to you. And if they're not actively lying to you, then they're being stupid. And we got to treat them like morons. And I'm not saying that they are morons, but we got to treat them like they're morons, okay? Because these rat bastards that always carry water for the Democratic Party are always telling you activists, progressives, independents. No, we got to keep our powder dry. We can hold the Democratic Party's feet to the fire. We can push them left. How's that working out? The Congressional Progressive Caucus is ran by spineless cowards. Bernie Sanders is all by himself, and I don't think Bernie Sanders is the fighter that he even portrayed himself as in 2020 or even in 2016. No one from Washington, D.C. is going to help us. They don't care about us. Sinema doesn't care about any of her constituents. She only cares about herself. She respects herself. She doesn't respect her people. She's a very good liar. So I got another video from Case Study QB here. Let's play it if we can. Get that set up.
Yachts. Your thoughts on the concessions that were made to Senator Sinema, essentially tax breaks favored by the private equity industry, U.S. manufacturing sector. Do those provisions do anything to actually help Americans?
Well, the interesting thing is she wanted out the private equity tax. But instead we put in the tax on the 1% tax on stock buybacks. And what that means is it not just brings in more money than the private equity dollars. It actually doesn't just bring in more money. It's going to change the behavior of some corporate executives that wanted to do stock buybacks, juice their stock, make more money for them and their friends instead.
Okay. So, no, it's not going to change your behavior, you moron. These people who are trading stocks on Wall Street, you know, a lot of these executives, these people who are so rich and powerful, they're going to find another way. That's why they got Sinema. They got her in their back pocket. And so she defended that tax loophole. Any kind of burden that was put on the rich, it's a joke. And of course, any kind of corporate media outlet, be it on MSNBC or Fox News, trying to say, oh no, the rich are being taxed, it's going to hurt the economy. No, this is all one big hype. What this really is, and what more Americans should be upset about, is that you have people in the Democratic Party that are just as corrupt as the GOP and will gladly prefer Wall Street and favor Wall Street and the top 1% than any of the struggling Americans right now in this country. Let's play the rest of the video.
Some of them will have second thoughts about it and begin to put those dollars into maybe coming up with a new product, maybe expanding their plan.
Oh, really?
Maybe giving more pay to their workers or hiring more people. So this was actually a pretty good trade. I still want to deal with carried interest. That doesn't belong in the code the way it is. I fully agree with that. But I think this bill actually got better with that trade.
Okay. Now, these people who, again, work on Wall Street, these banks, these corporations, these CEOs, they're not going to sit down and decide to hit the drawing board and make a new product. They're sure as hell not going to hire more people. They'll avoid it if they can. And raise the wages? They'll only do so if maybe enough politicians come crying and begging like, please, just give them an extra 25 cents. Give them an extra quarter, man. A quarter can go a long way. Just do that. Do that for the people. Nothing is going to change. So let me pull up this article here. And again, it's really sad to see where we're going as a country, especially where, again, the top 1% control anything. With Sinema's help, private equity firms win relief from proposed tax hikes. Okay. Senate Democrats agreed Sunday to protect firms owned by private equity industry from a new minimum tax on billion-dollar corporations, bowing to pressure from Senator Kristen Sinema, Democrat from Arizona, who insisted on making the change to the Democrats' sprawling climate, health care, and tax package. Yeah, look, that package is not going to help out regular people. If you think it is, if it's the vote blue no matter who crowd, I bet some people might be cheering up and down. You didn't win jack. The decision came as Democrats tried to hold their caucus together through nearly 19 hours of debate over the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which the 50-50 Senate approved Sunday with the help of tie-breaking vote from Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, what's going on further? The package proposed hundreds of billions of dollars in fresh spending, financed in part through new taxes, including a corporate minimum tax that would require firms with more than $1 billion in annual profits to pay a tax rate of at least 15%. As originally written, the provision would have required private equity firms to tally profits from their various holdings and paid a tax if the total exceeded the 1 billion threshold. Here's where the wonderful hero Sinema comes in. Sinema, who for over a year has blocked Democratic ambitions to raise taxes, raised objections on Saturday, according to two people with the knowledge of the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity, which means they're afraid that Sinema might crack their necks, to discuss private talks. The senator argued that without changes to the bill, small and medium-sized businesses that happen to be owned by private equity firms would be exposed to the tax, violating a Democratic pledge to on high taxes only on the largest firms. Small businesses and medium-sized businesses. Last I heard, all those small businesses are being shut down. A lot of businesses are struggling. And again, if they're owned by a private equity firm, then that really isn't, true private business anymore. A small business owned by regular people. Sinema found a way. Sinema found a way to slither on in. See, these politicians are all scumbags. If this doesn't show you why these politicians cannot be trusted, or anyone that's going to tell you, hey, vote Democrat or vote Republican, know this. Anyone that's trying to tell you to vote Democrat or Republican thinks that you're easily controlled. They could play you like a puppet, put their strings around you, and make you dance like a fool. Don't trust these politicians. They don't respect you. They don't respect you. They don't respect you. Sinema's here is thinking, won't somebody think of the private equity firms? Anyways, a Sinema spokeswoman said several Arizona small businesses, including a plant nursery, had raised concerns. The senator's objections came days after she persuaded Democrats to abandon a different effort to raise taxes on private equity managers by closing the so-called carried interest loophole, which permits investment managers to pay lower rates on certain portions of their income. In a statement, Sinema's office said her goal is to target tax avoidance, make the tax code more efficient, and support Arizona's economic growth and competitiveness. At a time of record inflation, rising interest rates, and slowing economic growth, Senator Sinema knows that disincentivizing investments in Arizona businesses would hurt Arizona's economy's ability to create jobs, and she ensured the Inflation Reduction Act helps Arizona's economy grow, the statement said. The last-minute changes marks a significant victory for the private equity industry and estimated savings of $35 billion over the next decade. Private equity represents roughly $4 trillion industry in the United States, and as the sector has grown markedly over the past decade, it has flexed its considerable political muscle repeatedly in Washington, D.C. From the start, the unusual way private equity businesses are structured pose a challenge for Democrats crafting a new minimum tax. Typically, large conglomerates are formed as C corporations under the tax code and pay corporate taxes. The new minimum tax would clearly apply to them, but private equity firms are legally formed as partnerships, which typically pay taxes on the individual returns of their owners. Senate Democrats say they crafted the legislation to ensure that wealthy investment managers who own numerous C corporations and other business entities, collectively worth more than $1 billion, would be subject to the tax. But a tax was never intended to hit the smaller subsidiaries that make up private equity portfolios, said Ashley Scapelli, a spokeswoman for the Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, Democrat from Oregon, who called the industry claims to that effect nonsense. Independent analysis largely agree with that reading of the provision. The language in the bill was intended to make sure they are treated the same way. So let's stop right here for a second. This is a way for the rich to keep on getting richer. This is a way for lobby groups, corporations, hedge fund managers to continue to buy influence over Washington, D.C. Now, look, Sinema, she's a Democrat through and through, as corrupt as they can get. But all these other politicians, Democrat and Republicans, they're going to do the same thing too. It's just Sinema's a little bit smarter on this. She knows how to get the money for herself. I want to play this one last video right here. We'll play just a few short excerpts from it. It's from, again, a few weeks ago. I just want to be more very clear about that. Folks, we live in interesting times to where our politicians have effectively abandoned us. Let's play this video.
Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema wants some changes to that major Democratic spending bill in exchange for her vote. And seeing as she could single-handedly block this bill, well, Democrats may not have much of a choice. Sinema wants to lose a provision that closes a tax loophole favored by hedge fund managers and private equity firms. If Democrats concede, the wealthiest Americans will continue to pay less in taxes. That change could trim about $14 billion from the spending package. Joining me now, NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor and NBC News Capitol Hill reporter Ali Vitale. Sahil, let's start with you. What are you learning about Senator Sinema's motivations here? Why does she want to keep this loophole open?
All right. So obviously this video came out before the bill was voted on, but it should just show all of you just how suspicious it is for Sinema to quickly go to bat for the hedge fund managers. They don't care about you. They don't respect you. Our politicians have abandoned us, but they'll always show love and support for their only constituents that they really give a damn about, the people that give them money. And the Democratic Party, well, to the average voter, they're nothing.